Welcome to the InfoWars Nightly News. I'm David Knight. It's Monday, February the 3rd, 2014, and here are our top stories.
Tonight,
investigate 9/11. 9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government.
a 9/11 truther crashes the post-Super Bowl press conference. Meanwhile, details emerge that Seahawks coach Pete Carroll has 9/11 questions of his own. Plus, cold-blooded Arizona cops assassinate a suspect with his hands in the air. All that and more up next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Well, it's the day after the Super Bowl, and we've just witnessed what in America looks like the Soviet Union's old May Day parades. We've got all this pageantry, most of it now about the police state and the military-industrial complex. And over the weekend, agencies like Fox News were just ecstatic about it, reporting breathlessly in admiration about the police state that was coming out. They said TSA agents demonstrate how dogs can sniff out many types of explosions. Now, these are a couple of dozen canines that they train at $200,000 a piece. So you're talking about $5 million worth of dogs here, but they've also added 200 screeners at Newark. And of course, these untrusty fans will only be allowed to carry small clutch bags or purses no bigger than 6.5 by 4.5 inches in a clear plastic bag, about as big as a freezer storage bag. That's the NFL's policy. You know, you got to keep an eye on all those untrustworthy Americans, because if they don't have a uniform, you can't trust them, just like in a dictatorship. But they also talk about how they had a 24-hour FBI command center, and they've got radiation detectors, and of course, surveillance cameras everywhere. Now, we had also reported on this last week. Kurt Nemo had written an article talking about how they were going to have the flyover of F-16s, $100,000 for that, plus some choppers. Just nothing but a Pentagon PR campaign. But of course, the Pentagon says, oh, that was requested by the NFL. It's very hard to tell where the NFL billionaires stop and the military begins. It's becoming increasingly more and more difficult. But, you know, what could go wrong with all of that security everywhere? Well, we had an inkling on Sunday morning. CBS goes by and takes a look at this vaunted security system, again, doing another dog and pony show, the mainstream media building up the police state for them. And look at what happens. They get a screenshot of the Wi-Fi password for the security center for the Super Bowl. Oops. And guess what? Look at their password. Welcome here. Of course, they are a little bit clever about that. They put the 3s backwards, but I don't think you even need the NSA to crack that password. Now, the guy who wrote about this on Yahoo Sports says, well, it's a small error, but if that's the biggest snafu of the Super Bowl, then the security staff did their job. Well, it got a lot worse than that, because after the game was over, we had a lone wolf journalist drop a video bomb on the Super Bowl. Alex talked to him on the radio show today, and we have an interview with him on the Nightly News, so stay tuned. He's going to tell us how he got through that vaunted security system. Now, the most important thing that we take away from this is the same information we should have taken away from the TSA revelations last week. If you remember, Paul Joseph Watson had an article about the blog of a former TSA agent. And one of the things that really stuck out about this, of course, besides the waste of the money and the fact that it's nothing but security theater, is that they were very much aware of John Corbett's video demonstrating that their machines didn't work at all if you have weapons on your side. They're very much aware of John Corbett. They're very much aware of his lawsuit. When he had a lawsuit that resulted in the discovery process, the government posted up the unredacted version as well as the redacted version on pacer.gov, where they list all lawsuits. And they showed that the TSA's own internal documents admitted that there was no threat against either airports or airplanes. They subsequently put a gag on him, even though they were the ones who posted it. So we know there's no real security threat, and they know that there's no real security threat, but that doesn't stop them from doing it. As Kurt Nemo pointed out today on InfoWars, he said the threat is really an all-encompassing police state and a control grid. You see, the NSA, the TSA, the Homeland Security, all these Viper teams, what they're really doing is terrorizing and robbing American citizens. They're terrorizing us and they're robbing us of our money as well as our rights. You know, one of the prices that we pay for people who don't care about losing their privacy, about losing their liberty, about losing their due process, maybe they care about living in a country where they have a crumbling infrastructure. One of the other things that came out last night, after the game, there was an unconfirmed reports of an explosion in New York. People started tweeting about this on Twitter. And what it turned out to be was a gas leak. Now, this is happening fairly regularly in New York. In New York and Los Angeles, the infrastructure is crumbling. It's crumbling everywhere. The bridges are crumbling throughout the nation. But of course, we can spend $5 million on bomb sniffing dogs. That's not even a good buy for dog trainers. You can get dog trainers a lot cheaper than that to teach dogs how to sniff bombs. We're paying phenomenal amounts of money for this show. It's nothing but a dog and pony show, literally. And we're also losing our liberties. Even though these guys are Keystone cops, that doesn't mean that they're not dangerous. Look at this story out of Arizona. This is where the police state heads. They're not only robbing us of our money, they're not only robbing us of our liberty, they're killing people and getting away with it. They know they can do it. They know there's going to be no consequences. It's getting more and more dangerous for everyone on the streets. In this video, we have a man who, as the Daily Sheeple points out, for absolutely no reason other than because they could, cops in Pinal County, Arizona, executed a suspect who was standing there, not near any officer, with his hands in the air, offering no threat whatsoever, and without trial, judge, or jury, they simply assassinated the man as his family looked on in horror. This is disgusting. If you see this, this is the price that we really pay for this security state, for this police state, for this military-industrial complex that has gone crazy. And how many people do we see killed in the United States? There's a story that we also had on InfoWars Today from allgov.com, and they asked that question. They said, why should that kind of a question require any detective work at all? Because it's very difficult to find that answer. It's that there's currently no national statistics on how many people are shot by the police each year. Frankly, the best that you can do is to write a story about the lack of information. I know because I've tried to find this information in the past myself. There is no reliable information about this. They don't keep statistics on how many people they kill.
The InfoWars crew absolutely loves coffee because we love being awake. And I am somewhat of a connoisseur of coffee. So many times you go to a restaurant or even to a coffee shop and the coffee tastes like garbage. And in all the different coffees I've tried, my favorite is grown in the high mountains, in shade, Arabica, on the border with Guatemala in southern Mexico by the Chiapas farmers. I make sure we've done the research. I make sure it's the very best product that we can offer you when I put my name on it. And I believe, and it's my taste, so you may differ, that this is the best coffee in the world from southern Mexico. Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic, Arabica shade grown. And then we have the Immune Support, 100% organic coffee, infused with a special type of mushroom known to boost the immunity.
This coffee is seriously so smooth. I normally have to douse my coffee with cream and sugar and cinnamon and all kinds of tasty treats, but this, I drink this black. It is so good.
Well, that's why I like it, is that it has a kick, it has really good caffeine in it, it has a good clean wake up that lasts for a long time, doesn't give me a headache, but it's so smooth, it's so delicious. Just try it out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is my favorite coffee. We went through a lot of trouble to bring you this. Just try it, and I think you'll be hooked like we are here at InfoWars. Well, folks, find out for yourself and support the information war today. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.